The new capitalist cosplay Barbie collab has officially launched at American Girl, and this is very exciting. I know reviews have been mixed on this collaboration, but honestly, this is a little gay millennial boy's dream come true. American Girl has been heavily relying on collaborations to help keep the brand afloat over the last few years. And look, some collabs have been better than others. I really loved the Gap collaboration that they did, and obviously the Disney has been super popular, but there have been a few flops along the way that I guess we'll not name today, but you know what I'm talking about. Now look, I haven't looked super closely into this, but I always hear that American Girl was kind of struggling not only with sales, but just an overall stagnant brand identity kind of leading up into 2020. And as we all know, we all basically hit 2020 and decided we wanted it to be like 1992 again. So there was a big explosion with American Girl at that time. And I feel like we are starting to gradually see that excitement come down a little bit more. I really feel like it held on strong in the early 2020s, certainly like 2020, 2021. I feel like I'm saying the word 20 a lot, but those first few years of the pandemic, I think really helped lift American Girl's excitement again. And certainly the collector community got really big and prices were flying up on the secondhand market on things. But just as somebody who collects vintage, I've noticed that the prices have come down on a lot of things secondhand, like super rare things. I'm getting a lot of things now for probably half the price that I would have paid in 2021. So on that hand, it's really good. But as far as American Girl overall as a brand, it can kind of be a little bit scary when retail stores are closing and Girl of the Year 2025 is apparently not doing super great considering it's not even 2025 yet. So I know that they have a lot of work ahead of them to keep this brand alive. And I think this Barbie collab might actually be one thing that can really help push them forward. I, for one, am certainly really, really excited about it. And based on the absolute onslaught of I almost said bland collaborations. I feel like that would be a bit mean to say. I actually do think a lot of these collaborations are really great, most of them. But anyway, we've been getting so many brand collabs over the last few years. I think that they've probably kind of figured out that this is sort of their way forward right now, is bringing the hype and excitement from other brands like Disney into the American Girl space. I think that's worked really well for them, and I think we're going to continue to see more stuff like this. So I'm really happy to see something that I'm particularly really excited about, which is Barbie. So it's, yeah, a really great day for me, at least in the American Girl world. But yeah, these brand collabs I think have been a really good way of getting American Girl's brand in front of the unwashed masses. I feel like the Disney collab in particular is probably going to single-handedly carry American Girl through the rest of the 2020s. And even though I'm not really a Disney person, I'm all about it if it can keep the brand alive so that they can do some of the other passion projects that a lot of us original collectors really, really love, like the original Pleasant Company reproductions, and hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe some new concepts for the original Pleasant Company dolls. But I don't think we're gonna get all of that stuff without like basically big Disney money behind it. I mean, I feel like kids don't really care about historical stuff anymore, which honestly, I think we're all about to live through history in the next few years. So why read about the dark horrors of history when we can just experience them firsthand? You know, I still like to think that Samantha would be a feminist, but she was awfully rich. So let me know in the comments if you think Samantha would be a Republican or not. So anyway, speaking of feminist capitalism, the very first Barbie fashion pack that we're getting for American Girl is the 1985 Day to Night fashion pack. This was originally designed almost 40 years ago. It harkens back to a time where women were valued in society and their opinions mattered, and I think this is actually probably going to be the first in what's hopefully many collaborations ahead with Barbie and American Girl. I mean, Mattel does own both brands, so as long as we can keep the Swarovski crystal cartel at bay, we might actually be getting a lot of playline and maybe some like lower end collector grade items. So hopefully this collaboration does as well as the original Barbie collab did with American Girl a year ago, because it sold out basically in the first couple of days, and they did make a lot more of these outfits. So I think that they will be available for weeks to come, but I hope that they sell really well because like I said, I really want to see more of these. Fashion packs are obviously a very big thing in the Barbie world, and so I'm hoping that we are not just going to have to buy brand new American Girl dolls every time they release a fashion pack, basically, because the original Day to Night from 1985 was sold on a Barbie doll, this was kind of in the period of Barbie when if you wanted one of those like big iconic outfits from the commercial, you had to buy the doll like basically dressed in it. And I know that they did have fashion packs back in that day, but they really were kind of just extras that you could buy for a few bucks off the rack at like Kmart or whatever. They never really became iconic. I can't think of any fashion packs from like the 80s or 90s that are like true icons of Barbie history. All of the ones I can think about are actually ones that were sold on the doll, but thankfully we did not have to buy another American Girl doll just to get the fashion pack for Day to Night. Seriously, if they had put this on another like $300 collector doll, like the 1000th one this year, I was gonna tear my freaking hair out. And luckily, it's long enough now that I can actually do that, despite it looking stupid half the time. But yeah, they're just doing way too many collector dolls, in my personal opinion. I think that the adult collector market isn't super big, and a lot of us are on budgets, and we are not only collecting new stuff from American Girl, we're having to turn around and spend like $300 on some rare, obscure item from the 80s. So our wallets and our minds are very, very exhausted. So it does get kind of frustrating when there's like $2,000 worth of collector dolls to buy in one year. And I think a lot of times you can just get so exhausted that you're like, you know what? I don't want any of this stuff. It's just too much money. I actually think even though we don't have a huge reseller problem in the American Girl collector community, there are a lot of people that are hopping onto the website, and the minute these dolls drop, they buy up 2 or 3 of them and then just immediately stick them on eBay for twice what they paid and just kind of wait. And I think that's been successful for people a couple of times in the past, but overall, like these collector dolls, in my opinion, are not really good investments. And honestly, I don't think they're really even like true collector's items. So as of right now, I don't think it's like this huge, like exclusive community. Cause I mean, like they're making in some cases like upwards of like 8 to 14,000 of these collector dolls, which is so many considering how in my opinion, there are way fewer American Girl adult collectors than there are company like for brands like Barbie. But yeah, I'm hoping that the resellers are having a hard time reselling this stuff and eventually they just all go away, because it really does suck the fun out of collecting. I really wanted those Bratz Mean Girls collab dolls and I just couldn't get my hands on them because all of the resellers went and bought them all up and stuck them on eBay for like 10,000 times the price. So I really hope that we can keep those people out of the American Girl space. And I really think like this whole like idea of collector and limited edition stuff, I think most of us don't actually care about that. Because at the end of the day, if you're buying something that's labeled like collector's edition or limited edition item, in many, many, many cases, those things don't really hold their value over time. Like I said, they're not a good financial investment. You really should buy those things if you love them. It's the very, very rare case that happens. Now, that said, the original Pleasant Company dolls, there was a collector edition of that Pleasant Roland signed, and those did actually go up quite a bit in value over the years, but that is a very, very rare exception. And that was also at a time when Pleasant Company was just an idea and a catalog in the mail. It wasn't the cultural phenomenon that it is now. So anytime I see something labeled with the word collector on it, most of the time I'm not going to buy it. Although in this case I did, because I really just love the Barbie thing, but the collector label didn't really do anything for me in this case, because at the end of the day, that is all marketing. I mean, everything that American Girl sells is technically limited edition because they retire things after, you know, sometimes it's after a few months and sometimes it's many, many years, but even Samantha got retired at one point. Like, this is all technically limited. But yeah, true collector's items never are really labeled as collector's items when they're sold. It's usually just stuff that was kind of thrown on the market with a hope, a wish, and a dream, and it ultimately ended up panning out. And so those very, very early things end up becoming so rare and valuable. But again, if millions of people have heard about it, buying something at the retail level labeled as collector is just not really a true collector's item in my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, that said, so far everything that they've sold for Barbie, which is 2 items, is the original Barbie limited edition collector doll, like the Barbie #1, and this new fashion pack that we have. Those have both been labeled collector edition. So we might be seeing a bit of a theme here. It might be that every single Barbie thing that they release is a collector's item, which typically comes with a higher price tag, unfortunately. And I am not totally sure that the Day to Night fashion pack really warrants the collector label and the high price. I mean, they are charging $75 for this, which is right on the money for what I guessed they were going to charge for it. But I really wish they could have gotten this down to $50, because I think one look is really great and the other one is, you know, it's It feels a little obligatory. But I do know that the goal of this fashion pack was to sort of do a full reproduction of the original, just scaled up. And if you're watching this and you're not really an American Girl person and you're more of a Barbie person, Barbie is 1/6 scale and American Girl is 1/3 scale. So the American Girl dolls are quite a bit bigger than a Barbie. So it was quite a bit to scale it up. And a lot of times that can create issues in terms of picking the right types of fabrics and things. And I think overall they did a really good job with maybe like one or two exceptions. But I really do like that they tried to do a true representation of day to night. And they didn't try and do some like crazy, like Swarovski bedazzled version of it. So yeah, a lot of people are criticizing the quality of this outfit based on stock photos. And I'm going to try and reserve a lot of my judgment until I actually get this item in hand. So, because a lot of times you'll see something in stock photography and it will be like a prototype or something, and then you get it in person and everything just makes sense. So I really am going to kind of like not worry too much about like the fabric thickness and things like that. But I will say that that leotard for the night look really is kind of cheap looking. It kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's serving Costco. I really, in most cases, don't love like a sequined fabric. It has to be under the right circumstances, I feel like, to use like sort of a cheap sequin fabric like that. The original Day to Night look had more of like a tinsely, like woven kind of look. It's a much prettier fabric than what American Girl ended up using. And I think if they could have found a fabric a lot similar to the original, I think that this would have looked a lot better as far as the night look goes. But that really is like my biggest criticism of this entire set, is I just feel like the leotard that came with it looks a little bit like a dance costume from a Costco set than it does like a reproduction of like an original iconic beloved Barbie look. It a little bit gives dollar store Carrie Bradshaw. But that really is my only real nitpick. And like I said, it's not going to stop me from buying this because I think the other look is so good. I really think the only other nitpick I can maybe find with this set is that I think that the hat is probably one of those like hard molded felt materials like Claudie's hat, and I think Courtney has a hat like that in her collection. It is a little bit on the cheaper side. It kind of looks like maybe something you would find at the dollar bin at maybe Joann's Fabrics for like a home craft project. I wish they could maybe find a way to make their hats look a little bit more high end, but that's really about it as far as things that I'm a little bit concerned about this set. I think everything else looks really great. I even really like that they did basically scaled up plastic accessories like the briefcase and her purse. Now, some people might complain about that. I mean, everybody can have sort of an opinion on what it means to scale something up and make it collector quality. But to me, plastic accessories are quintessentially Barbie, especially from the 80s. Like, it's not 80s Barbie accessories if they weren't made in the same factory as like drywall plugs. And like I said, I'm not going to make a call on the skirt suit fabric. And I think that's one of the things that people have been like sort of pre-complaining about. I could get it and think it's terrible, but at the same time, these fabrics are supposed to be scaled down. Again, we're talking 1/3 scale from human scale. So I get that they probably don't want fabrics that are insanely thick. I mean, that's at least a convenient excuse anyway, if you want to cut costs and use thinner fabrics. But I do get that if you use fabric that's as thick as an area rug, she's going to look insane. So it does make sense that they are a little bit on the thin side. And again, Barbie clothes in the 80s were made very, very cheaply. So this is really kind of all up to interpretation. And I think you can kind of look at it from both sides. So I'm just reserving judgment until I get mine, but in product photos, I think that the skirt suit looks really, really great. If nothing else, it'll make a really great Elle Woods Halloween costume for your dolls, so you can, cosplay Legally Blonde. I think they even have a little miniature chihuahua that you could make as like Bruiser for her, and you can make a little like pink collar and everything and have a little gay dog. I think that would be great. So I'm definitely excited about this outfit. I think for sure it'll be part of my Barbie American Girl collection, but it'll probably end up on a doll at Halloween time to play Elle Woods because, hello, Legally Blonde is one of the best movies of all time. Another thing that I noticed in sort of the marketing or propaganda for the Barbie material is they are continuing to use the classic head sculpt dolls to model like the blonde Barbie. So obviously the original collector doll was a classic head sculpt with blonde hair. And the ones that they're using in the promo materials for the blonde Barbie in this, they're also using the classic head sculpt. So I'm kind of curious if they're sort of setting up standards for like future Barbie collaborations. Because I think for most people, when they think of like the blonde Barbie, they're thinking blue eyes and like, you know, original, like old. And I guess the classic head sculpt was originally from the 80s. So maybe that's kind of what they're thinking in terms of that. But I do think they could do maybe a little bit better job on like the representation of head sculpts and skin tones, which we're just getting started. So, you know, I understand that like they have to like dip a toe and then gradually branch out. But I'm really hoping that if nothing else, like I would really love just sort of like standard like Barbie dolls that can maybe be paired with different fashions. Although I think it's going to be difficult because all of the hair is so different for each type of Barbie. So maybe we won't be getting that many like actual Barbie dolls, but I really would love a set. And I've been begging for this for a year now, is a set of Barbie and the Rockers as American Girl dolls. I think that would be so cool. I mean, hello, dream blunt rotation. Can you imagine like Claudie as Dee Dee and Corinne as Dana, like with the big hair and like the bright like eyeshadow and all that? I just think that those would be some of the coolest, or maybe the most insane, but I think that they would turn out really cool. I think they'd be some of the coolest American Girl dolls ever made. I am still holding out hope for a Barbie and the Rockers collab. And again, we'd have a really great range of diversity, really fun 80s throwback, and just it's a really great opportunity to really experiment with hair and makeup on American Girl dolls. I really think that they should do that. That's probably my biggest wish list item for the Barbie collab of all time, is Barbie and the Rockers. I believe my words in the last video where I asked for this was, I would eat my own head for that. And there are so many other things I would like to see in terms of Barbie American Girl stuff. I mean, I feel like a totally hair Barbie is probably pretty much inevitable at this point. We will probably see a limited edition Peaches and Cream Swarovski crystal doll. You know they're gonna come in and charge us $350 for that. I personally would obviously love a 1988 Superstar Barbie, which is my favorite Barbie of all time. I would also love a Happy Birthday Barbie. You know, like the ones from the early 90s where they had those like big F-off ball gowns with like the confetti patterns printed all over them. That would be so fun. And I know American Girl likes to do sort of like special birthday things for just in their play line. You know, they'll have like birthday outfits and accessories and stuff. But I think like a range of Happy Birthday Barbies, like again, in a big box. Again, if you want to sell them as like collector edition, whatever, that's fine. I'll buy it. But a big box with a big ball gown with the confetti and everything, I just think that would be so awesome. That's something that I would love to see. And actually, speaking of 1985, I think Astronaut Barbie from 1985 would be a really awesome doll too, with those like big, like 80s puffy Golden Girl lame sleeves and like the big like fish bowl on her head. I think that would be so awesome as well. There's just so many opportunities throughout Barbie history to make really awesome American Girl dolls. If they go a little bit further back in time in Barbie history, I could definitely see them doing like a Malibu Barbie, Don't Tell Debbie. And I can certainly see fashion packs like, you know, Suburban Shopper and things like that. But honestly, I feel like they're probably going to keep it sort of to the 80s and 90s, I think, because that's where a lot of American Girl adult collectors kind of fall in terms of like age for Barbie. Most of us grew up in the 80s and 90s. And I think even, you know, parents with young children right now probably grew up around that time. So that seems to sort of be like the prime nostalgia era for Barbie right now, in my personal opinion, at least sort of like in the bigger sphere of things, like people that watched the Barbie movie and got excited about that. I really feel like the 80s and 90s are kind of where American Girl needs to and should focus in terms of Barbie collabs. So I think, again, Day to Night was a really great option. I just hope we don't see stuff from the Barbie movie. I'm kind of over all of those fashions. Yeah, there were a couple of cool things in there, but honestly, I would way rather see the original iconic looks than maybe some of the stuff from the Barbie movie. It just wasn't really like my favorite to begin with. And it's just going to feel like extra like corporate for some reason. So yeah, I would really hope that we stick to the 80s and 90s, at least for the next little bit. But yeah, to be perfectly honest, at this point, I feel like anything that they release with the Barbie logo on it at American Girl, I'm just gonna buy it because it makes my heart so happy. I mean, I have loved Barbie since I was a little kid. Like, as soon as I was making memories, I loved Barbie, and I still do. I have a Barbie collection. It's just kind of packed away right now because I don't have space for it. I say that as I have like a bunch of empty shelves behind me, but I've got it packed away, but I still really love Barbie. So I want to continue to encourage this collaboration because I feel like if we don't buy anything else, I feel like the Disney brand is basically going to take over American Girl, and that's all we get, plus some Truly Me dolls. So I would really hope to support and encourage more of the Barbie collabs because I really, really love it, and I hope everybody else does too. But that said, I don't encourage you to buy things that you don't like. Certainly, if it's something that you're going to only enjoy for a couple of days and then have to sell it for half price on eBay, I can kind of be like that too, where it's just sort of like I get really excited and the nostalgia high hits and you like have to have it. And then sometimes it can be a little bit deflating after. And I think they're making up to like 8,000 of these sets. So they should be available. I haven't even purchased mine yet. I'm actually making a video and I haven't even like pressed the Apple Pay button yet, but I will be getting mine in the next couple of days or so. I'm just trying to see if I can find some other things I want to buy so I can get free shipping. We'll see. But yeah, I think they'll at least be around for a few weeks, if not, a little bit longer. 8,000 is a pretty big number in terms of American Girl. But yeah, I think we can expect to see a lot more collaborations in the future with American Girl. I do kind of feel like their main line is struggling a little bit. Certainly the historical stuff, you can tell by the amount of like effort that they're putting into the collections for the existing historicals. And we haven't gotten like a new historical doll release since the Hoffman twins, which I think at this point, oh my gosh, has it been 3 years? No, 2 years? Yeah, I think we're coming up on 2 years since we've gotten a new historical character release. So I just feel like they're lagging a little bit in that department. And honestly, it's probably going to stay like that. Because again, I just think the excitement about history is not there for kids these days. And I don't know if it's coming back, honestly. It like kind of sucks right now to think about history and how we're like basically repeating it as we speak. But I think things like the historical line are basically going to need some sort of like, I hate to say revamp or reimagination to kind of bring it into a new audience, but they've tried that before already and people came out with pitchforks. So, I think they're so traumatized from Be Forever that they're probably too scared at this point to even do anything with the historicals other than just try and like do reproductions every once in a while for a quick cash grab and then just sort of let them fade away. I've been begging for new concepts for Pleasant Company characters, like Molly's purple dress from the original book that never got made. And Samantha has a bunch of really great fashions in her book, but we're just not seeing a lot of new stuff for the historical characters. So I think that brand collaborations kind of are the way forward for American Girl, unfortunately. So at this point, I feel like I just have to support the ones that I really want to see. And I've really been trying to pare back on purchasing brand new items from any company, really, but it just gets to be a lot. And the resale value isn't super great on American Girl stuff. So if I buy it, I'm kind of stuck with it unless I want to sell it for a loss. So I've been trying to be really careful not buying too many things from American Girl as much as I want to support them, especially because like my love of toys and dolls really is in nostalgia. Like I love collecting stuff from the late 80s and early 90s from when I was a kid, and I love American Girl as a brand and it's really fun to do as an adult, but the feeling is different. It like just hits differently buying something that you wanted when you were a child and couldn't have versus just, getting excited about a brand that's doing really awesome things. It's very different. And that's one thing I love about this Barbie collab is it's sort of in between. Like I get to get excited about a new upcoming release that I get to have brand new and it doesn't smell like somebody's disgusting old basement. But it also still has sort of that nostalgic pull because it is an original design from Barbie from the 80s. So I kind of think that's the best of both worlds. So I'm really excited about this collaboration moving forward. Like I said, I plan to buy every last thing that American Girl makes for Barbie or Barbie makes for American Girl. And it's all the same company. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you to everyone that wished me a happy birthday last week, by the way. That really meant a whole lot to me. It's also the 2-year anniversary of this YouTube channel. I mean, look at us, we're doing it. I have been so grateful to have this space for us to escape and really dive into the world of nostalgia and Pleasant Company and American Girl. It has really been such a bright spot in my life, and I've just been so grateful to be able to share it with you. So hopefully there are many more years of this to come, unless this channel gets canceled like a Chapel Roan concert, but I'll do my best. If you want to help keep this channel going, you can check out my Patreon where there are hours of extra American Girl content. The link is in the description. Or you can shop at my shop at idreamofjohnny.com. You can find me on Instagram at idreamofjohnny. Or maybe you can just keep chilling with me on YouTube, maybe in this video right here. Oh, and if you were wondering, after 36 years of waiting, I finally got my dream Barbie doll for my birthday. 1988 Superstar Barbie. She's finally home. All right, put your phone down and go drink some water. I'll see you soon.